Good day, my listeners, my viewers. I want to dive into the world of classification today. We've looked at a part of it before, so today we're going to be looking at the part two of the previous lesson that we have actually looked at. In our previous lesson, we established that scientists have developed a more meaningful way to name, to organize, and to identify organisms. Okay, and we see that these meaningful ways are done based on similarities and differences that exist among these organisms. And we were able to establish in previous lessons that this system of naming, grouping, and identifying organisms is what we call classification of living things. Okay, so you must take that, you must bear that in mind. So therefore, when they ask you that what is classification of living things, what's going to be your answer? Classification of living things, therefore, is a systematic process of grouping living organisms into categories based on the similarities, based on the differences, and the evolutionary relationship that exists among these living organisms. So that's what classification is about. That's the definition of classification. When you are asked what classification of living things is, so that should be your definition of classification. Now, having established this definition, we are now therefore ask a question: how exactly is this classification done? When you are asked how exactly is this classification of living organisms done, you have to go back to scientific principles. Now, this particular question leads us to a particular system that has been developed by scientists called hierarchy of classification of living things. In this hierarchy of classification, it shows to us that all living organisms, they are organized into levels. Okay, and these levels are called hierarchy. And each levels in this particular hierarchy, they always refer to them as tassa. Tassa is what they are referred to. They are all referred to as tassa. Okay, each of the levels, they are referred to as tassa. And we have 7 levels into which organisms are grouped. So the first level into which organism is grouped is called kingdom. Then the second level is called phylum. The third level is called class. The fourth level is called order. The fifth one is called family. The sixth one is called genus. Then the seventh one is called species. So this is the 7 level into which organism is classified. Now, I develop a mnemonic with which you can easily remember these particular levels, which is called king play card, other family gets small. King play card, other family does what? Gets small. This is the mnemonic I develop with which you can easily understand, with which you can easily remember this organization that scientists has proposed, with which classification is done, which is kingdom, phylum. The king there is kingdom. The play there is phylum. The card there is class. The order is order. The family is family. The get there is the genus. Then the small there is the species. So this is a simple method with which you can easily understand, with which you can easily remember the order into which organisms are classified, the various levels into which organisms are classified is the king play card, other family gets small. So each of those levels is what we call tassa. Tassa is TAXA. That's tassa. Okay, that's in other words, we call it taxonomic ranking. So that's the rank into which all those various levels are called ranks. We call them taxonomic ranking, or you call them tassa, into which level the various organisms are classified. Okay, now when you look at that kingdom, which is the largest, so kingdom will now move down to what you call it, to species. In moving down from kingdom to species, you find that organisms in each of these particular taxonomic ranks, they begin to reduce in numbers when you are moving from kingdom to species. But what happened to the organism as they are moving down, as they are reducing in number, the next thing that's happening to them is that their similarities is always increasing. So they are decreasing in number, but similarity is increasing among the various organisms that are placed together in that particular tassa or in that taxonomic rank. So you must bear that in mind. So we're going to be taking a particular organism as an example, which is the lion. Let's take lion for example. Lion belongs to a kingdom called, when you look at the picture on the screen, as I use a picture on the screen to illustrate this system of classification, in which I said as you move down the group, the numbers of the organisms begin to reduce, and the similarities that exist among the organisms at various tassa begin to increase. So we're going to use lion as an example. So let's take a look at the diagram, the picture that is on the screen. When you look at the picture that is on the screen, you have a wide variety, a wide view of a lot of organisms on the screen. You have about 22 species of organisms in that savanna you can see on the screen. So you look at the organisms. let's begin to classify. Lion wants to classify, but we'll be classifying them alongside with the other organism. And as we are going down the group, a lot of them will be deleted based on the similarities that they have with lion. So let's take the first kingdom. Let's take the first hierarchy, which is kingdom. Every living organism has been grouped into every living organism on earth has been grouped into 5 kingdoms. You have the kingdom Monera, you have the kingdom Protista, you have the kingdom Fungi, and you have the kingdom Plantae and the kingdom Animalia. So all the animals that exist on planet Earth, a lot of them have been grouped into the kingdom Animalia. So lion and every other animal you are seeing on the screen are grouped into the kingdom called kingdom what? Animalia. All the way from the biggest one you can see there, which is the elephant, down to the smallest, which is the small butterfly, tiny butterfly you are seeing on the screen. They are all grouped into the kingdom called kingdom Animalia. Okay. Then from kingdom Animalia, we move to the phylum called into which lion is placed. Okay, so when you look at the phylum into which lion is placed, the phylum into which lion is placed is called phylum Chordata. Okay, and what are chordates? Chordates are animals that has what we call notochord. These notochord are actually tissues, rod-like tissues that are found on the back regions of some organism at a particular developmental stage, especially at the embryonic developmental stage of that animal. So they always have that notochord at that particular stage, and this notochord is later replaced by spinal cord. So this is common with animals with backbones. So when you look at the picture on the screen now, you find out that the only animals that does not fit into that particular structure, into that particular feature, is butterfly. Butterfly does not have backbone, but the rest animals on the screen, you find out that they all have backbone. So they fit into the phylum chordate together with lion. So going forward, we're going to look at the next particular taxonomic rank, which is class. What class does lion belong? Lion belongs to a class called mamma. You all know what mamma is. The feature that makes a mamma are features like hairs. Animals that have hairs on their body are mammas. Animals that have mammary glands, they are also called mammas. So when you look at these two features that makes up mamma, you find out that there are some organisms on that screen right now that has to be deleted. And the organisms include your organisms such as birds. Birds are not mammas. Your reptiles, which is the snake, the crocodile, okay, the lizards, they are not mammas, so they will be deleted from the picture. Then next is the fishes. The fishes are not mammals also, so they will be removed from the pictures. Then also the amphibians, which is the frog and the toads, they don't belong to this group. So mammals are animals that have hairs and they have mammary gland. So as a result of that, you find out that as we move down the group, the thing is getting reduced. But what is happening to the similarity? The similarity is increasing. So I haven't talked about the class. Then we're going to move to the next one, the next taxonomic rank, which is called order. Which order does the lion belong? Lion belongs to an order called carnivora. When you say carnivora, what are carnivorous? Carnivorous are animals that feast on flesh, basically. Okay, so when you look at the picture on the screen, you should be able to say that there are some animals right now that no longer fit into this particular order that a lion belongs. And what are these animals? We have the primate and we have the herbivores. The herbivores are those animals that feed on grass, okay, which is the antelope, the goat, the cows. They feed on grasses. So as a result of that, they will be deleted from the picture. Then the primates, what are the primates? The primates are monkeys, the gorillas, even human beings are also called primates. So because they no longer fit into this particular order, as a result, they will also be what? They will also be deleted. So you can see what we stated initially that says that as you are moving from top to bottom, which is from the largest rank, which is kingdom, down to species, what is happening to the organisms? The numbers of organisms is reducing, but what's happening to the similarities? The similarities of the organisms that falls into the various taxa or the taxonomic rank is also increasing. So let's move further from that order. They will now go to what we call family. What family does a lion belong? Lion belong to a family that is called Felidae. Felidae are families of cats. Okay, by the time you look at the particular picture, you look at the picture that is on the screen now, you find out that there is a particular organism that no longer fit into the family of cat, and that's dog. So dog does no longer fit into that family of cats. So dog will be deleted from the picture. Then you now move further. You now go to the genus. What genus does lion belong? Lion belongs to a genus that is called Panthera. What do I call it again? I call it Panthera. So Panthera is the genus that lion belongs. And Panthera are a group of large cats. Okay, so going by that feature, large cats, you find out that there are particular organisms right now that no longer fit into that particular category, and they are what? Our domestic cat and cheetah. They are not large cats, rather they are small cats. So as a result of that, they will be deleted from the picture also.
living lion, tiger, and what? And leopard at the genus level. So these three organisms now, they fall into the same genus. But when you look at these three organisms, you find out that they cannot fall into the same species, because one category that makes organisms to belong to the same species is the fact that this organism must be able to interbreed freely among themselves. So when they ask you what are species, you simply say that species are population of organisms that can freely interbreed among themselves. Are you getting it? But leopard, tiger, and lion, they cannot interbreed freely among themselves, so they cannot go together. So as a result of that, what do? You have to delete at the species level. You delete leopard and tiger from the particular group. So as a result, we're now left with lion on the group. The last man standing is called now called lion. Then when you go back to our system of classification that we mentioned in our first class, we say that the father of modern classification was developed. The father of modern classification is Carolus Linus. Carolus Linus bring up a system of naming organisms, which is called binomial system of nomenclature, in which every living organism have two names. And we say that the first name comes from the genus, the second name comes from the species that the organism belongs. So when you look at the classification of this lion, you find out that what genus does lion belongs then? You find out that lion belongs to a genus called Panthera. Then what species does lion belong? Lion belongs to a species called Leo. So as a result, the scientific name of lion becomes Panthera leo. Okay, so when you look at it now, to tell you how related, how very organized the scientific principles are, you find out that the tiger and the leopard that falls on the same genus with lion, in their scientific name, that Panthera will also be in their scientific name. Take for example, tiger is bearing a scientific name called Panthera tigris. Then leopard is bearing a scientific name that is called Panthera pardus. Are you getting it now? So it's clear that scientific principles are principles that have been set for everybody to be able to follow, so that there will be order in the study of classification of living things. So these are the principles that have been set up. So furthermore, once we look at some biological principles when you are writing your biology or your work, whenever you are writing scientific names, that Panthera leo, for instance, the first name, which is the genus that the organism belongs, always begin with capital letter. Then the second name, which is the species the organism belongs, begin with small letter. Then when you are writing with your computer, you italize. After writing scientific name, you italize. But since you are writing with your hand, what you do is for you to underline after writing scientific name. But always remember that the first name of every living organism is the genus it belongs, and it must begin with capital letter. And the second name that the organism belongs, the second name that the organism possesses is the species the organism belongs, it must begin with small letter. So that's where we're going to be ending our class for today. If you have listened to this lesson to this particular level, make sure you do well to follow us on our social media platforms. If it's YouTube you are watching from, do well to subscribe to our channel. And as you do so, God bless you. So we'll see again. Bye for now. I remember Master T to the world, Master T to the world, Master T to the world. Thank you for listening.